Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Imperial Glory, the Great Britain campaign. So, last episode, not much happened apart from the almighty conquest of Prussia at long last after much hard fighting around Brandenburg Palace. But after that happened, not a lot really occurred apart from preparations for more wars while we waited for all these defensive alliances to dissolve so we could move in without pissing off the entire continent. So, we declared war on the Ottomans, and now General Ponsonby and Haworth are ready to engage in combat with the remaining Ottoman garrison, and after that the whole territory of Anatolia will be ours, and then these two will be ready to make the move onto the flanks of Russia when the time comes for war against them. Russia has no shortage of troops, though. They've got several colonels and captains lying around their various territories, so there's definitely going to be quite a bit of fighting to go through the frozen Siberian wastes. Outside of that, our defensive alliance with Austria will dissolve in 2 turns, so that's enough time to defeat the main Ottoman army, then defeat the garrison, and then Anatolia will be ours, and then we can start fighting on the Imperial Palace. And even better, we're going to have surgery done in a couple of turns, and I believe the 2 Sicilies will belong to us next turn when we finish the newspaper office, so things are definitely going to kick off next turn, which I'm going to press right now. So, 581 to 217, the odds are very stacked strongly in our favour, and in a good sense of irony, we're using Arabian troops against their own Arabian troops. Alright, let's go to it. Let's see what Anatolia's like. In contrast to the vast desert wastelands we've been fighting in lately through Egypt and Tunisia and all that, this area is relatively lush and green, with several buildings that we can make use of. Know that the defenders will start next to those buildings though, so we're going to have a harder fight. The village, that's it. We must attack, force the enemy to retreat, and maintain control of our position. We will be victorious! Death or glory. Enough of that. Right, let's get an idea of the lay of the land. So we have, hang on. The camera's in relatively good shape for this fight. So we've got several walls and forests that we can, and rocks as well, that we can use to our advantage on the march up to the village. So I'm guessing that they're going to start round about this area and then make a beeline straight for all these buildings. But if we know the AI, they have a tendency to sort of abandon their defensive fortifications once I begin my approach. They will have houses, and I don't have cavalry to deal with those houses, but thankfully, since they're houses, they won't deal a huge amount of damage. I need to use my militia as a sort of meat shield and to send them on charging forward into a sort of a suicide mission, but don't actually tell them that. Let's just start the battle and see, where are they? No, they're all the way over here, but that's still plenty of time for them to get to the village before I do. So I'll have my men start... Whoops, no. I can't even click them on here. What? Oh, I can't issue orders while paused because it's a bit stupid. I'll just have my men start running up to here, and we can't actually use those... Oh, we can use these ones. So we can use them here, and not along there. We could use this one. All these rocks. Don't know if I'll ever get a chance to, but we'll see. We will see, we will see, we will see. So they sent their infantry up to secure the village, but they've left their cannons and 1 unit of light infantry behind. So if I send my militia to attack, the light infantry are very weak in melee combat. So if I get 1 militia to attack the light infantry and the other one to focus on the cannons, they should win that fight. In the meantime, you guys go into the line formation, and then we'll have the Arabian infantry take the front, so they can have my more elite troops in the back. Although the thing is, I don't know if we're going to get there in time. I don't want the militia to run because then they'll get exhausted. We'll also want the grenadiers fairly close by, and the redcoats, they're weakened units, so they can stay back for the time being. Let's you guys run. I know it'll drain your stamina quite quickly, plus you'll need to charge into combat. Our main... Yep, they're firing. They're limbering up. Right, one of you go for the militia. No, the line infantry. And the other one, well, the thing is they're actually kind of blocking the line. And that should draw their attention. So hang on, pause. Oh, okay, the cannons have launched quite a volume, so have the line infantry. But if their militia is going to charge in, so they'll just be distracted. So, you know what? I can't shoot the person. Go get them. Grenadier Guards, occupy the wall. Right, we're engaged in melee combat. If we can kill them... No, we won't. But they're distracted. You guys run for it. Why are you charging? Don't charge. Use your guns, you fools. Hey, ranged attacks? Why are you... Okay, this is confusing. I don't want you guys to charge either. Gun attacks. Okay, we're getting some volleys off. My militia is still fighting. The Howitzer are firing at point blank range. Alright, so that happens sometimes. For some reason, some people want to engage in melee combat. You guys abandon your position and come over here. Actually deal with the Howitzer. Our militia can... Well, they won't take that fight, but it's not important. We need to deal with the cannons before they can shoot at my line infantry. The militia aren't a threat at all. We can just adopt square. Okay, we've got one unit down. Right, you guys fire at will. Boom! Houses are down. It's just 11 militia left. Come on. Look at these lovely lines. Wonderful! So, we took some casualties in the line infantry because for some reason they decided to charge, but we can replace them. A resounding victory all around. So now we've got to deal with the Ottoman garrison, and it's no artillery for once this time, it's just regular infantry. We can deal with those easily enough. Alright, so they've adopted defensive positions. So I can get the Arabian light infantry to go up front, so they'll be the ones taking the shots, so my actual grenadiers will be safe behind them. Not a sense of cowardice, just a sense of tactical decisions in regarding to the value of each and every individual troop. I'll have my militia charge forward first to draw their fire. As for the rest of you guys, if you'd be so kind to pick up the pace. I know what, you guys abandon your position. You won't be able to shoot anything from there. Right, once you guys all line up, you guys charge, and you guys hit the guys in the house. I said charge! Okay, stop running. Okay, they're going to start firing any second now. Yeah. Okay, they're firing at the militia, that's good. They wasted one volley on those guys. And the militia charging onto them. Okay, form squares. I don't think this is going to work. Unless they form the squares quick enough. Which they haven't. But it's okay, we're completely outnumbering them. Okay, get out your squares. Essentially luring more and more guys into the melee fight. Okay, get out your squares. Okay, we completely destroyed them. Now, one of you guys go in for the melee fight. Lure them out of the building. And they're shooting my grenadiers now. And run while you're at it. Ouch. Come on, get in that building. Come on. Where are you going? Okay, now, of course, the door's at the back. Right, that's them distracted. All of you fire at will. This is a bit of a messier fight because they're actually being annoyingly smart and not abandoning the building. Ayo. Okay, they're not good in melee combat, so my light infantry, even though they're weakened, will still deal a healthy amount of damage. Plus, we've got my guys shooting at them. These guys are almost done. You guys adopt a different position. Okay. Nice! Right, we own it now. Okay, they've dealt with that much, but we've got more reinforcements coming in to make sure that they don't keep on shooting at my men. As for the rest of you guys, feel free to shoot into that building and hopefully you won't hit my own men. Nearly done, 9 left. Come on, and done. Okay, we did take quite a few casualties out of that, but we at least secured it. So a healthy amount of casualties compared to them, for once they were being smart about maintaining their defensive positions. However, Two Sicilies has now become part of our empire, giving us more resources and troops. And, oh, the Ottomans have already fallen, and that's a lot of money right there. A very nice amount. So, with that newfound wealth, we will have plenty of resources necessary for building these military hospitals next turn. I'm definitely going to build... Hello, we also got Ottoman ships. Whoa, yeah. Revenge, Defiance, Thunderer, Achilles, Colossus, whatever. Either way, look at this. Austria are the only people left. Austria and Russia are the only people left with any vessels in the water. So the Mediterranean belongs almost completely to England. Baltic Sea, we outnumber the Russians there. Now there's a Russian ship, Yaroslav. Is unacceptable. Right, I'm going to send... You two can actually come back to the English Channel to help there. Spartanet, you continue on, because we've got no shortage of ships in the Mediterranean now. We can all gather you guys towards the Austrian fleet to take them out as soon as possible, once war's been declared. And what have we got now? Captain Fradavilo with some infantry and lots of militia. Yep, we've got ourselves a healthy amount of troops here. And good lord, look at all this. Right, definitely. I'm not really concerned about food consumption anymore. So many troops, so many militia. At least we'll have plenty of backup forces. Oh, what to do with all these vessels? Anyway. Right. Whoops, no, stay there. So, Austria, war next turn, or the turn after that, given how I'll have to wait for the turn. But we've got Picton here with the infantry and artillery, Moore with all the cavalry, and Wellington with a whole big batch of infantry. I think it's about time that I started getting... We'll get a new paper off with them in a few turns, but we'll need to do a bit more work in order to get their points up. As I've said many times before, we'll be able to take over the capitals owned by the Russians and save them for lots of points. It will take a long time to get their diplomatic or sympathy points up for a peaceful annexation for these three, given how we'll just have saved them. But I just want to secure these two places, and then, well, we can just declare war and conquer these ones anyway. Outside of that, I guess since I want to save my resources for military hospitals next turn, all I can really do is go to next turn and declare war on the Austrians. The defensive alliance is over, and the rite of passage is also over as well, and surgery at long freaking last. So now, we can finally start working on these diplomatic texts that we've been neglecting for so long because I want these. But they're very helpful, so I'm instantly, but they're also expensive, but thankfully they don't actually require any prerequisite, we don't have to build anything before we can build a hospital. We can build them right away. It's just they're very expensive, as you can see, and they take 5 whole turns to build. We're definitely going to get one in Anatolia, so that we can get these 2 back to their full complement. And I'm also after that going to build a military academy here, just so we can. And Saxony or Hanover. Hanover is in a better better position right now because, well, technically so is Saxony. Look at all those houses. Because Saxony will be closer to Russia. I'd over Hanover. Hanover's good. Second era, military hospital in 5 turns. Anyway, before anything else happens, a declaration of war against the one, so the Russia and Lombardy, against the one and only Austria. Marvellous. In fact, technically on the end of turn, or the passing turn screen, there's only 4 actual countries left in the game now. The Lombardy, the Papal States, Austria and Russia. So compared to when the end of turn things, all the countries used to spread along the whole bottom of the screen, and now it's just 4. The world has changed, and it will continue to change next turn once war is declared. A defensive alliance with the Papal State. Well, that'll increase sympathy even more, so, of course. With that defensive alliance, Papal State is now up to 88%. And the newspaper... No, that's Austria. Whoops. 1 turn left, so that'll give us 2 sympathy points away. So if I do a commercial treaty or a improve relations... right there. And I've got plenty of gold to spare, so if I give them 2,000... Wonderful! How much does that do it by? That's just gone down. It was at 88, now it's at... Or did I do the wrong one? I think I might have done, actually. Whoops. Right. Let's try that. Oh dear, it's made it worse. How much worse? By 1%, so it's not a huge amount. Alright, enough dilly-daddling with that. We'll worry about it next turn. So, watch food consumption skyrocket, but... So they've got 2 units of light infantry, 3 units and plus 2 cannons. And our 6-pound or our 12-pounder cannons will outrange their Hausiters. We've got but we've got cavalry anyway, so it's no big deal. And Halkett can come over here to guard Hanover and provide some cavalry reinforcements if need be. And I'll bring up Uxbridge as well. Marvellous. Next turn then. Here comes the big battle and our first tour of the Imperial Palace of Austria. 636 troops to 186. I don't think this is going to go very well for the Austrians. So welcome to the Imperial Palace. Quite a grandiose area and quite an interesting one as well, given how it literally sits on a raised platform of ground with bridges leading up to the Imperial Palace level. But I can see here it's just a small collection of large buildings, but as you can see up in the distance, it's literally like a big fort as such, with raised walls, or however the term is. Right, we just need to take over the central square. The Austrians, of course, can occupy no shortage of buildings in this area, but we have 12-pounder cannons that can bring down the buildings. So as you can see here, there's 2 bridges leading up to it. So if I just, whoops, if I don't do that, if I just have my guys line up, and I don't actually want the artillery to go first, because that's just sending them out to suicide. What we're going to do is send out the cavalry first, followed by the infantry. Whoops. No. By the infantry with the cannons bringing up the rear. Got ourselves a nice marching column here. So where have they laid themselves out?
Your enemy has taken a key position.
Right, they've got some houses and grenziers there. They're a bit exposed. And of course they're occupying the main Hofburg Palace. And there's the other one. They essentially, they've split themselves up quite a bit actually. So, in fact, I could just have my horses storm this lot right here and now. Which is actually what I'm going to do right now. Look at them go. So they will take one volley from the cannons and one from the grenziers as well, but they'll no doubt kill the cannons quick enough. In fact, who's first? Right, you guys go for the cannons and the rest of you go for the grenziers. And they haven't even limbered up. Are they going to get a volley off? No, are they counter-charging? Well, it didn't go well for them because they've all just gotten butchered. In fact, they all died. They all died instantly. Jesus. Well, alright then. And they've abandoned Hofburg Palace. They're sending out the grenziers, so once again I could probably win this with just the cavalry alone. So you know what, that's actually what I'm going to do. We don't need to spend a long time just getting all my troops lined up if I can win this right here and now. So technically we've actually just taken the palace. I don't know where those other unit grenziers went, but these guys, oh no, they've just combined into one. Although they're so close together I thought they were just one unit. Are they counter-charging again? It's not going to go well for you guys. Literally, we're butchering you. Look at all these corpses. Come on, butcher them. Kill them. And I think we only lost 2 horses. The cannons didn't even get a chance to fire a shot. Look at all these bodies. I just saw a change. The one and only Wellington has just become a field marshal. That's the one rank you can't obtain with training buildings. You have to actually get your generals promoted into field marshals. You can't train them or anything like that. And of course, it'd be Wellington. He's the best, he's the greatest. And we actually lost 3 horses, I miscounted. Okay, that's not something I was expecting. Every single time I've tried to annex another province's capital, it's taken forever. Maybe it's something to do with how many provinces they have, which determines their power. Austria only had 1 province left, its capital, so maybe that just meant it was so weak that it fell instantly, because I had pretty much a similar amount of troops that I had when taking over Prussia. But either way, Austria is no more. Wellington. Wellington, the great and grandest and the best of the best. Field Marshal, our first Field Marshal. Cultural influence has been researched, so now we can go to propaganda to get army bulletins to steadily increase sympathy, which will be help. And we're a bit behind in this, but we can gift people military aid if we want, but we're not going to. And a quest. Production of research points will triple for 2 years. A sea route with Athens, a land route with Rome. And that's the Papal State, and Athens Harbour, that's Greece. So we need to... Athens. Yeah. And the Greece is owned by the Russians, who have been moving their troops around quite a bit. Either way, 90 points. So, buildings-wise, a cultural centre in 4 turns. And in Lombardy, do we have... we're going to need to do some diplomacy. Or, no, we don't need to. We can just secure these capitals, because Russia is our last remaining rival. And I don't want to waste any more time. You know, I'm not going to build any more buildings. I just need to free these provinces. So, I was building these buildings, and I might as well just keep it building right now. Just so we've always got a place where we can retrain troops. So, more, you need to replace some of your horses. So let's exchange. Whoops. Let's exchange I can't exchange because he's just moved, hasn't he? Christ. Right. Or Uxbridge. In fact, Halkett... Whatever. Halkett, come into Austria for a bit, and these two will begin moving towards Poland, which is going to be the start of our offensive. They've got quite a few troops in Moldavia. Light infantry and cannons, a tiny amount of cavalry, but mostly light infantry and cannons. Light infantry and cannons all around. In the meantime, I'm actually going to send these three guys, except I can't, because these two are here. You know, you just come in here regardless. So I can send these three guys up. And... Well, I think I can bring you down... Well, technically we've got cannons in Hanover, Saxony right now to serve as a temporary garrison. But I'm going to move these guys up towards Sweden to secure that. These guys, they can actually begin moving towards... Because they can move... Yeah, they can move over there. Although they will be a bit outnumbered. We're building a military hospital right now, so I want to replenish my numbers before we actually move out. But we've got these guys here. So we're actually going to begin the march on Russia right here, right now. I'm not going to waste any more time. So let's get... Now we definitely outnumber these. I'm going to bring... What's that name? Whatever. Okay, you guys come back. It'll be 3 against 1 and 4 against 1 here that I've got back up in the form of Moscow. Sloop Moscow. They've named a ship after their own capital city. These guys are going to continue... No, you guys are coming back towards the channel. These guys can continue making their way into the Mediterranean. We didn't even need to engage the Austrians in ship-to-ship combat. Keep going, and all that. We can also take the Black Sea out from underneath the Russians and blockade both of their ports. Marvellous. And blockade their ports in Greece as well. Which is absolutely splendid. So, let's move to the next turn and be ready to prepare for combat. I think the Russians know what I'm doing. They're moving troops, well, they're just cannons. They're moving troops to Sweden, which also has a garrison, so I want to make sure... Well, let's see what I've got here. Why can't you move into... Let's see what I've got. I've got lots of militia. It's not exactly an ideal army, but it should be enough to deal with whatever garrison they've got in there. And those cannons. They could always send in reinforcements, so that will draw their troops away from the main line where Poland and Moldavia will be. Which works for me. Right, so Wellington move into former Prussian territory. And more, it's time for you to exchange some troops. So, swap these guys. And... Hang on, I think. You've got full strength. And there's one more. Well, it's pretty much the same anyway. Right, so you're good to go. With the exception of one horse, you're completely full on troops. Which is marvellous. Uxbridge and General Halkett, you might as well come over to the side to provide backup. Whoops. Oh! Right, never mind. Continue guarding Austria. Let's see what they've got. They're bringing in a significant amount of troops, but not exactly high quality ones. Lots of cannons. I need to remember that. Lots and lots of cannons. That's the main forces they're bringing to bear. Alright, so I'm going to move more into Cilicia next turn. And then I'm going to declare war on the Russians, which will come into effect next turn. And... sorry. Which will... Then I can move my troops straight into Poland. And then once Poland is secure, I can move straight to Moldavia while these guys move up north to secure Sweden. And then we can begin the march on Moscow. Which is excellent. And hopefully this will get these two up enough to be peacefully annexed. If I save these guys, I will most likely have to come back and conquer them, but Ayo, it'll do. Propaganda has been researched, so we can build army bulletins if we want to, but I don't want to. And a market network, which will make us a little bit more money from all of our internal trade, because all of this internal trade is still making us just 72 gold a turn, which is puny. And ayo. Right, hello Russians. Right, so what have you got in Poland? Militia, light infantry cannons. Light infantry cannons. No one. If you'd been smart, you'd have moved one of these two in to replace this guy with no troops, because he's useless. Whatever the case, please. Oh crap. I forgot they had the defensive alliance with Lombardy. I don't know how long it's been going on for. I know it's been a couple of turns. And I really don't want to have to wait any longer. They don't really have any troops there, so I could always send in Uxbridge and Calder with their troops, and that's just that's going to draw down the Papal States' opinion of me slightly, but I'm building a... I wasn't building a cultural centre because I wouldn't think I'd need one. It's going to take 4 turns, and I'm probably going to have Poland by then. You know, I just realised something. With Poland bordering Brandenburg, these guys could easily move in to attack us, attack Bard and Hope, which I really don't want. So just to be on the safe side, we're going to move... Oh, for goodness sake, I just moved in there. Right, screw that. We're going to have to wait just one more turn, but we'll do it next time, I promise. And I'm going to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger ending. So I know I did say that there'd be a little more action this turn, or this episode, and there wasn't as much as I thought there would be, given how the Austrians fell so easily. But I'm not complaining about that. I wouldn't want to fight on the same map again and again and again and again like I did at Brandenburg. So, end this episode here, and things are really going to get interesting next episode as we engage in a multi-front war with the Russians, who have a significant amount of troops. More than any other enemy we've faced, I believe. And of course, Lombardy as well is going to fall because I'm done with the diplomatic annexation stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this episode of Imperial Glory. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed and that you will join me in the next episode. There's going to be a big war coming, and it's going to determine the future of Europe. Namely, it's going to belong to me. I'll hope to see you then.